So, gratitude is a way of seeing that shines a light on all the goodness that you have in your life. So, join me today to learn more about why it's the little things that count in your life and why they matter, and the role of gratitude, and what it has to do with your levels of happiness, right? And if you like what I have to say, make sure to sign up for the upcoming 10-day gratitude challenge, which is going to start from the 21st of December. It's absolutely free, and it's going to be daily actionable posts which will be shared with you via email. So do sign up at ananditarungta.com/gratitude challenge. That's ananditarungta.com/gratitude challenge. And if you're watching this live, make sure to drop in and say hi so that I know that you are here. So in today's session, it's the little things that count. And I'm going to take you through a bit of why we need to learn a bit more about the role that gratitude can play in your life and how it can help you to see things in a different light, right? And it can make all the difference in your life. But I would first like to start with a story. And that story sort of is shows you the connection between possibly what donkeys have to do with appreciation and gratitude, right? So what do donkeys have to do with appreciation and gratitude? So the story goes like this. Hi Archana, good to see you. Just starting today's session, and the story is about donkeys. So the wise old fool in Persia, Mullah Nasruddin, he had a business which used to take him across two countries, right? So he used to move from his country to another country, and this story goes way back. So the story goes like this. He used to take his donkey and, with a lot of stuff on the donkey's back, a lot of goods, and he used to travel between his country and the other country. And every time that he used to travel across the border, there would be customs police officers, etc., customs officials who would be there, and they noticed a strange thing. They noticed that every time that he was crossing his country and coming back, he seemed to be getting richer. And it was very visible in terms of the clothes that he was wearing, in terms of the jewelry, in terms of how the donkey was decked up or decorated, right? So every time he was taking his donkey with the goods and he was coming back to his home country, he seemed to be getting richer and richer. And they used to stop him at the border, and they used to go through all the goods to see whether he was basically smuggling something, because they were convinced that obviously he was getting richer because he was smuggling something illegal. But they couldn't figure out what, and they couldn't find out at all anything that was suspicious. However, this continued to happen, right? And so over a period of time, Mullah Nasruddin got richer and richer, and his clothes and jewelry and everything started to reflect that. And this went on, and he bumped into one of the customs officials who was by now retired in a village market, in a village bazaar. So the customs official had always been intrigued by how he had been getting richer and richer when they couldn't figure out anything. They couldn't find out anything that he was smuggling. So he went up to Mullah Nasruddin and said that, Mullah, I have retired, so I have nothing, I am not going to come after you anymore. I'm not going to ask you anything after this. But I really want to know from you, what is it that you were smuggling? Because we are pretty convinced, I'm completely 100% sure that you were smuggling something. But for the life of us, I couldn't figure out what it was. So Mullah smiled at him and he said, donkeys, right? So a lot of times, and the reason I'm sharing the story with you is obviously because the story is not so much about donkeys as it is about seeing the riches that are right under your nose, right under our noses. Because often what happens is that because we are so busy, because we live such hectic, busy lives, often on default mode, we fail to see the riches that are present in everyday life. We fail to appreciate the little moments in our life that really matter, whether it's a conversation that you have with your child or your loved one, whether it's your morning cup of tea that you're having, whether it's a meal that you're sharing with a family member or a friend, right? And I think a lot of it came out during this year because many things that we used to take for granted were taken away. Personally, for me, I used to cherish catching up with my friends, even if it was just for a cup of coffee. And I really miss that, and I still miss it. Things are of course much better, but it's something that I used to often take for granted, that it's something that I will be able to do anytime, anytime I feel like. But I was sadly mistaken, right? So often things that we take for granted are the things that we miss the most when they are gone. So just start by paying attention to all the riches that you have in your life right now, which are present right under your nose. So that's what the story. So that's the first thing that I wanted to sort of share with you, because more often than not, we miss them when they are gone, right? It's like we miss our children, the conversations that we had with them, the hugs that we used to get from them when they were little, the games that we used to play with them, because they have now grown older, or they have now busy lives, right? Or a loved one has passed away because we didn't take out the time to be with them. So it's the appreciation for all that we have today. Of course, while looking forward ahead to building a life that we love, that's fine. That's an ongoing thing. But it starts with appreciating what you have right under your nose, right? So that's where the story comes in. The second is that the gratitude is a precursor to better mental and emotional health and well-being, right? And it's both, emotional health, well-being, and as well as physical health and well-being. And in fact, research shows that practicing and expressing gratitude, both are important, leads to less fatigue, leads to better resiliency, more life satisfaction, more happiness, better sleep. So if there was one thing that you can do in your life today without resorting to any kind of medication, without resorting to any major treatment or anything that you need to take internally, right? It's something that you have at your disposal, and it's completely free, and it's available to you 24/7 at any time that you feel like. And that's the power of gratitude. And it's about appreciation, and it's about expressing gratitude, right? So it's about sharing the goodness that you see in your life. And often what you will notice is, which goes hand in hand with gratitude, that it is to do with many things that you think you didn't deserve or you didn't do, right? That's what gratitude is also about. It's not always something that you did or you had to prove yourself to be worthy of something that somebody's appreciating in you. You have your unique abilities, you have your unique gifts, and you don't have to prove anything to anyone to feel appreciated. So it's about also acknowledging when someone's expressing their gratitude towards you, and it's about you also acknowledging and expressing your gratitude towards your anyone, be it a stranger, be it a loved one, a family member. So it's both actually, right? So that's the second. So first thing was the story that I shared with you about Mullah Nasruddin and his donkeys, and how often the treasures in our lives, the little moments, are really the ones that count, and we miss them when they are gone. So it's all about appreciating what we have right now in our lives, right? The second is knowing and understanding that acknowledging what you have in your life, gratitude, and expressing it to those that you would like to, whether it's your parents, whether it's your friend, family member, are both equally important, and they lead to better health outcomes, both emotional and physical, right? So that's the second thing. The third is that, so what gets in the way of gratitude? So typically, what gets in the way of gratitude is our modern, busy, hectic lives, right? The fact that we rarely take out time, or we don't have time to reflect, to pause during our busy days. It's not very conducive to finding those moments of joy, even when it's right there, right? It's there in the passing of the clouds on a beautiful sunny day, those beautiful white clouds on a blue background. It's there when your child wants to play with you, in your child's smile and her voice. It's there with you when, for me, it's when I'm sitting across my husband at the breakfast table and we are sharing our cup of morning tea and we're discussing the news and some tidbits, before we start on with our day. It's about when I come home from work, or my child has gone out, my kids have gone out to play, or for something, and they come back home, and it's the smile that they give me to when they see me, and it's vice versa. It's these things that we miss out on if we are too busy all the time, right? So because it doesn't, busyness of our lives doesn't really help us to reflect on what we have. So one of the most effective ways of reflecting is to have some kind of ritual, and one of the rituals that is again free and that you can practice on a regular basis, it doesn't need to be every day, is keeping a gratitude journal, right? It's a very, very simple thing. If you're already doing that, you can sort of put it down in the comments and let me know yes. And if you would like to do that, I would like to know that too. So if you're already keeping a gratitude or some kind of journal, do put it in the comment below and let me know. Type in yes. And if you would like to, I would like to know this as well. So a gratitude journal is a brilliant way of, taking out the time to reflect on what I just mentioned, on all the little things that you have in your life today, right? And it builds up your gratitude muscle. It's a brilliant way of building your gratitude muscle because just like any other muscle in your body, just like any other sport that you might to practice or any other instrument, the more you use something, the better you get at it. So it's a practice at the end of the day, right? Mindfulness is a practice. Meditation is a practice. Gratitude is a practice. It's not something which needs to be done once and for all and you reap the benefits for the rest of your life. That's not how it works. Just like anything else that you want to get better at or you want to see more of in your life, you need to practice it on a consistent basis. So keeping a gratitude journal is really useful. And what I find is the way that gratitude journaling can help you is doing it at the end of the day, right? That works for me. You can do it anytime, of course, whenever you have time. But what I find is when I sit down at the end of the day, and if nothing else, if I can write down 3 things that brought me joy or 3 things that I'm grateful for today, it can be many different journal prompts. That's amazing, right? That's something that sort of brings, what should I say, shines a light in and especially if the day has been challenging, it sort of gives me a fresh perspective, right? That if things are not as bad, very rarely, I would say, as bad as they seem, very, very rarely. And let me share with you one activity that I used to do with my kids when they were younger on a regular basis. Now that they're older, my daughter is a teenager, she is 14 and a half, my son is 10 and a half. I still do it with them from time to time, especially with my son. And it's something that you can start, and it's a beautiful exercise. And again, it's something that can be done anytime in the day with your kids and also with your entire family. We do it as a family many times. But maybe the best time to do it is at night, just before bedtime, because that's the time you're without, hopefully, any distractions, without your phone or any other gadgets or screen, and you're sitting with your child or your family and just having those conversations. So the activity that I wanted to share with you is rose, bud, and thorn. So what we do is we share a rose, a bud, and a thorn. So the rose is something that went well during the day, something that we are grateful for, right? So it can be, and oftentimes what you find is that this doesn't look like there's anything to be grateful for because it was such a crappy day. But when you probe, when you reflect on your day, you will always find that no matter how many thorns are there, there's always one rose. And the way that I have inculcated this in my children is by, asking them gently, okay, there was nothing good about your day, but did someone smile at you today? right? Did you get a smile from anyone? Was it even if it's from a stranger or your family? Did you get a fresh home cooked meal today? Right? Did you get warm, or comfortable clothes to wear today? Right? What is one thing that you got that you should be, or you should be feeling grateful for? You can appreciate in your life, or did you get a hug from anyone today? Right? And there is always something that is a rose in their life, right? So that's something that I've taught my kids, and they now know better than to say there was nothing good in my day, there was no rose, right? We always find something. The bud is something that you are looking forward to, preferably in the immediate future. So typically the next day or the next couple of days. So something that you're looking forward to. Again, remember, it's usually the little things, the little moments that we treasure. So it's the friend that I'm catching up. It's the phone call that I'm looking forward to with a family member. It's something that I'm looking forward to preparing for my kids. So for example, I'm making pasta today. It's a special dish that we have once in a week. So it's something which counts as a bud for me. So something that you're looking forward to. And thorn, of course, is things that did not go according to the plan, something that went wrong. So that's rose, bud, and thorn. It takes just a few minutes at the end of the day to do this exercise, but the effects are profound, right? And it's amazing what a daily dose, a healthy dose of gratitude can do in your life. It can shift your perspective, it can alter your gaze, and make you see things in a different life. Nothing changed in your life. The situation, the circumstances did not really change because many of them are beyond your control anyway. But you changed the way you looked at it, and that made all the difference. So again, the first thing that I shared with you today was the story about Mullah Nasruddin and his donkeys, the smuggling across the border. But what it boils down to is this, that it's the things that are right under our noses that we often take for granted or we overlook. And typically it's those little moments, those things that we ought to treasure, those little things that we take for granted, and that something that we can pay attention to and appreciate, because we actually miss them a lot when they are gone. So that's the first thing. The second one was that gratitude, appreciation, and expression of gratitude on a regular and consistent basis leads to better health outcomes, both emotional, mental, and physical. So whether it's in terms of less fatigue, better sleep, more resiliency to deal with life's challenges, right? Better increased levels of happiness, all of them are as a result of gratitude. And the third one that I shared with you is typically what gets in the way of gratitude is lack of time, lack of prioritization, and a hectic pace of life, right? But we miss out on the gifts that we are receiving on a daily basis, just because we have not really taken time out to pause and reflect on all this, right? So that's what I wanted to share with you. It's a way of seeing all the goodness that is out there in your life, and often it comes outside of you. So make sure that if someone is expressing their gratitude, that you are showing grace and you are accepting it, even though you might feel that you did nothing to deserve it, because a lot of gratitude is something that you did not do anything for, right? But it's something that the other person wants to appreciate, because in some way you touch them, you touch their lives, right? And the same thing happens when you express gratitude to someone, whether it's your child, whether it's someone you often take for granted. Take out the time and express your gratitude towards them. And Joita, thank you so much for joining and also sharing, giving your feedback. So I hope you enjoyed this session. If you want to sign up for the 10-day gratitude challenge that I have coming up from the 21st of December, it's a free online challenge where you will get one actionable step that you can take, one small actionable step that you can take every single day to flex your gratitude muscle via email, right? Do make sure to sign up for the challenge using the link anindita.roongta.com/gratitude challenge. aninditaroonta.com/gratitude challenge, right? Archana, yes, gratitude needs to be practiced like every other thing that you want to get better at. So flex your gratitude muscle starting today. Sign up for the challenge. And if you have signed up already, make sure to share this video and invite your friends to sign up for the same so that they can also reap the benefits of daily gratitude doses.